Daily Stand-Up Meeting, or Daily Scrum, or Stand-Up, or Daily, it has a lot of names. All of them represent the same thing. It is a team meeting held every single day by the development team in which they meet to lay out their day. It is the moment in which we are communicating what we did yesterday, what are we going to do today to meet our objectives, and if we have any blocking points that will keep us away from meeting these objectives. But how do we do this meeting when we are a distributed team? My name is Anka. I'm an Agile coach for over 12 years, and in this channel I'm sharing good practices like this one to share my knowledge on how to do Agile and what are the tools that are available for you out there. And if you are new to this channel, please consider to subscribe. Click on subscribe and on the bell button to receive notifications. We are releasing 2 videos per week, one with training videos like this one, and another one is a demo release in which we are sharing the new functionalities of Orli. Orli is a Discord bot that aims to help development teams in spending less time in meetings. Why do we need a daily stand-up meeting? This is a good practice coming from Agile that has been adopted by a lot of teams beyond the development teams. And it is so well appreciated because when the teams come together, especially in the morning, and they learn on what everyone worked on the day before, what they managed to achieve, what is done, what is not done, what they need help with, it helps them to plan their day. It helps them to align day by day and to don't let those things slip over, but rather on adjusting every single day and work towards the business objectives. Distributed teams are teams that work from all over the planet and they want to still come together. And let's see what are the challenges when it comes to daily stand-up that the distributed teams face. The number one is time zone. We have, in a lot of cases, team members that are on West Coast of the United States and team members that are in Asia, but also in Europe. How do we reconcile those time zones? Most of the cases we decide to do like European morning or European afternoon, and that kind of works for everyone. But is that a productive time to meet for everyone? Because imagine that someone in Asia will close the day and someone in the US will be way too early to meet. And what about the things that we need to do after we meet? Because a lot of times we come to these daily stand-ups and we discuss things, and some of the team members need certain things to be done just after the meeting. But imagine that for the person that is in Asia, that is going to go midnight and past midnight. That's not all right. Or for the person that is in West Coast in the United States, it's going to be way too early to be productive. Of this, we need to add things like how do we remember what we discussed during that meeting? How do we remember to don't forget that we promised to do something next day when it's actually midnight for us and we just want to have this meeting and go to bed? And most of us are using a project management tool for the day-to-day task management. For example, Jira, Trello, Utrack, Monday.com, Notion, you name it, there are a lot of them out there. And sometimes what it happens is that we meet for this daily stand-up, and at the end of the daily stand-up, after everyone communicated everything that they had to say, we go and open our board, our to-do list, and actually we wonder, did my colleague say that that's done? That means it's done as I can share it with our clients, or that means that it's actually available for testing, or maybe the code has been deployed and it needs a code review. You see, there are all these questions that we have, and imagine that the person just went to sleep, of course, because it's midnight. And what are we going to do with all these questions? How do we get a structured way of working? I'm going to share with you 5 tips that I learned across the years on how to do this daily stand-ups more productive and don't lose so much time. So the number one is time zones. Find a time zone that is very good for everyone. Usually the European time zones are more friendly, but you have to make it work. It should not be midnight, 1 in the morning for someone, or 4, 3 in the morning for some other team members. It should not be that after that meeting someone signs off, but it should be somewhere not really at the end of a working day, like 1 hour before. So in case we still need to clarify some things after our daily, we can do it. And there is room for that, and we plan for that. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is walk the board. Sometimes it's very hard to remember what we did the day before. Sometimes, especially when we work with so many people from all over, everyone has the tendency of joining the meeting, saying their story, and that's it, not listening to the other. But remember, the goal of the daily meeting is that we align together, that we work together to achieve objectives, business objectives. It's not about just getting done the things. We don't care if that works, if it is ready to deliver. We don't care about the team members if they need any help. No. So working the board means that you take all the stories, all the work that you need to achieve from top of the list, the ones that are the highest priority, all the way till the bottom, and you take them one by one and you try to finish them. So the goal is not to take them to in progress, to start them, but you want to finish them. So ideally you will start from the ones that are almost at the end of the process, let's say the ones that are in QA first, and then whenever they are all done, then you can take the ones in progress, and then when they are all done, you can pick something else from the board, from the to-do list. Tip number 3, it is update the project management tools as you go. Because there is nothing more painful than pinging the team members, hey, what did you say you done there? Is it really is it ready for QA? It's not ready for QA. It is like we met for nothing. So if we can open the board and update the tools as we go, that would be amazing. And another thing that I do is that whenever we are reporting, for example, well, I'm waiting for some information here. Then I'm adding a comment, so next day we can remember. And we can also know, oh, how long this has been blocked, or how long we've been in this asking for information in the process, and that helps us to improve our processes. So tip number 4, make a list of who needs to meet. The discussions that are going off-road, the discussions that are happening inside the daily Scrum. For example, discussions about what library did you use to implement that? How did you implement something else? All these technical details, they should stay out of our daily. That's very important. But we still want the team members to discuss with each other. So in that perspective, we are going to make a list of who needs to discuss what with whom. And we'll have topics and the team members. Usually it's the Scrum Master that takes these notes, but if not, anyone can take them. And that brings us to tip number 5, the list of blockers. The list of blockers is our main priority when it comes to what we need to do. And we need to don't just hear people out that they have an issue, but everyone should jump in. So at the end of the day, if we have 2 blockers, we want to know how we are going to resolve them. Who is taking the responsibility of addressing them? They may not have the answer to them, but someone is taking care of them. So these are tips that I recommend for everyone to do fast, smooth, easy daily stand-ups. But on the other hand, I can tell you from experience that even though we apply all of this, it still sometimes takes a lot of time. Because we are a lot of team members, because sometimes we have a lot of topics to discuss, because we just get lost into updating the tools, because a lot of reasons. So one day I made a short calculation on how long these daily stand-ups take. If We are more or less efficient and our dailies don't exceed 30 minutes. And let's say we are a team of 5 team members and we have 18 days per month of daily stand-ups, because 2 of the days sometimes we don't have them because we either do the sprint planning or they are the demo days, so we skip them. That takes us to 45 hours a month per team. Now, let's say that we are a very, very efficient team and we respect the 5 tips that I just said, and we manage to put our daily stand-ups inside the 15 minutes. That brings us to 22, 23 hours a month. That's still a lot from my perspective, because whenever the team starts to grow, if you start to have 10 team members, then these meetings start to take longer, or you start to have team members that start to participate in multiple daily stand-ups. So more people you add in the system, instead of delivering more, you actually slows you down. So how do we take care of that? How do we address this issue? At Orli, we are facing with the same situation. I can tell you that I'm getting a bit tired of so many meetings, and our mission is to drop the time we spend in the Scrum meetings from 95 hours a month to 20 hours a month. We start with the daily stand-ups. Let's see how we can do that with Orli. You go on orli.ai and you add Orli to your Discord channel. Then you add the participants and you set everyone's time zone. And there you are ready to go. Orli is pre-configured with the best practices. Of course, you can always edit them, you can always adjust it to your needs, but it's ready to go from the next moment. So you don't need to send meeting invites, you don't need to check calendars anymore, because it doesn't matter. Orli is going to ping everyone to tell them, hey, it's time to report your daily in their own time zone. So everyone will report in the morning, so they plan their morning and they plan their day. At the time in which I'm shooting this video, Orli integrates with Jira, Trello, and UTrack from JetBrains. We're adding more integrations as we go, so feel free to join our Discord server and ask for the integration you are interested in. Now let's have a look. Orli has pinged me that it's time to report my daily, and that's in my own time zone. I'm reporting the things that I know that I have to do and exactly what I've done. And here are the good things in having Orli, because you are in the meetings and you say, yes, I'm going to do that, but they are all little things, and sometimes we forget to write them down. And if we forget to write them down, we also forget to do it. Well, Orli never forgets to do it, because you write it there and Orli adds it in your task list. That's one good thing, one less things to do. Then another thing that you have less to do is to update your project management tools, because when you are in a meeting and you say, yes, I've done that one, you also have to go and update it and add the notes. Then with Orli, you just report it with one click and Orli marks it as done for you. And that's actually amazing, because it really takes a lot of weight from you. You don't have to remember as a team member that you have to update the tools in the right way. Did I do it right? I didn't do it right. You can forget about that. And also it makes it easy for a manager, for a Scrum Master, for a project manager, because he or she doesn't need to go and ask everyone, hey, did you update that? Is that like that? Is in that status? What is actually in another status? No, because Orli does that. And I can tell you that from being in the position of someone who is chasing everyone to keep the project management tools up to date, this is amazing. Orli does it for you. So I'm very, very happy we have it. Oh, and there we are. Another good thing about Orli is that it's calculating some metrics that as an Agile coach, I'm doing it by hand. But Orli does it for me. And I always like when Orli pings us these reports, because it makes us think, it makes us say, oh, maybe we should do something about it. If we had 12 blockers in a week, oops, maybe that's a bit too much. What can we do about it? Maybe it also triggers me to, oh, let me see who needs help. So I make sure that by the end of the week, we got them done. But that goes beyond our daily stand-up. To wrap up, in this video, we learn 5 best practices to keep your daily stand-ups in control. One is to pick a time of the day which is friendly for everyone and it's not the last minutes of someone's working day. Number 2 was walk the board, not simply report what we've done in that particular day. Number 3 is to update the project management tools directly in the meeting. Number 4 is to list who needs to talk with whom about what. And number 5 is what are our blockers. And if you are using Discord, now you know that there is Orli, which is there to help you have less meetings and declutter your calendar. Orli takes care of updating the project management tools, of chasing everyone to report their daily, and getting some metrics about your team performance. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, any recommendations that you would like us to make a video about, feel free to drop us a message in the comments or join our Discord support server. See you in the next video.